How everybody doing? Welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to give y'all a little behind the scenes and a tutorial of how I made this whole little thing. So some of the things I'm using, shout out to Stretchsense, these Pro Fidelity gloves. I use these for this little short scene. Basically I got some fishing line. So I have that on the door. So when it's on the door, I can be able to emulate me walking in, pushing the door open. So you got that fishing line. You see it right there. So you can find that anywhere you go. But ultimately, I got the Xsens a window starter kit on. That's me coming in. I got my Blackmagic 6K Pro camera. I got my lights up here. You know what I mean? I'm over here making things happen. So let's jump right into this tutorial and really see how all of this stuff comes together. All right, now, so we up in Unreal Engine. I'm gonna start it off there. Now, this video can become really long if I try to do breakdown step by step. So I already made some tutorials on how to retarget your character and basically retarget animations, bringing those into Unreal Engine. So I'm not gonna go over that. But as you see, I have a sequence set up and I have my animation that I created. That animation was created in using my Xsens. You already saw that. One thing that you want to do is you want to bring that animation in. You want to basically retarget it, get it onto your character that you want to use. I'm using this character. You can see on this thing, I basically have this entire world is basically blacked out. Hold on, let me make sure my focus is good. Make sure I'm all brightened up a little bit. Try to get this stuff a little bit in here, right? So I don't know if that did anything, but we're going to keep it going. One thing that you want to do in here is because you're going to be exporting out an alpha channel. So to do that, you want to make sure that you create your Unreal Engine project. In here, you notice I don't have anything else. I don't have anything as far as background. It's all black. If I go to my project settings, I'm going to type in alpha. You want to make sure right here where it says allow through tone mapper, it'll normally be I think it's only I forgot which one it's on, but you want to basically put it through the post processing through allow through tone mapper. That's probably going to have you go through and restart your engine. So you're going to do that. But then soon you have that all back up and running, you want to basically bring in your animation that you did. You want to retarget it to the character, and then you want to set up the scene. What I normally do is I'll have like the shot of what me walking through the door looks like, and then I'll try to get a frame or whatnot and make sure that they're both looking the same. So basically same camera angle, height. You want to get that all dialed in. Like I said, I'm trying to make this somewhat fast because it's a lot of steps to go through on here. But once you have that all dialed in to what you would like, you probably want to light it. Light it for the way your room is set. That's why on a previous thing I told you that I have the lights over here, know exactly what your lighting situation looks like, and then you can be able to light your Unreal Engine scenario the same way. Another thing that I did was I'm using the Blackmagic 6K Pro, sensor width, sensor height, all of the whole sensor size. You want to be able to go through that. I know I'm probably out of focus. My bad on that, y'all. We just talking. So you want to basically dial that in as well on your camera, your cinematic or your virtual camera film back. So you want to put that stuff in there, and then you can start dialing things in. Like I said, this is not a tutorial on how to set up your Unreal Engine project. This is basically of how you're going to get all of this stuff done so you can be able to bring your characters into this world. And that's one thing of how I did that. So I have it lit. Now we're going to get ready to export this bad boy out. Soon you got everything set. You set your sequencer up. You should know how to do that. I'm not breaking those things down. But then we go through here. I'm going to go through. We're going to delete that. I'm just going to use a PNG. I made this kind of fairly fast and simple. So if you go to your deferred rendering, accumulator includes alpha. You want to check that. You want to make sure that the accumulator includes alpha. Then you go to your output, yada yada. You go through, you click in where you wanted to save, you hit accept, render, you render this bad boy out. So that's one step there. Now let's jump into After Effects. I think the way I got this set up is I did some a pre-recording of After Effects, and I'm gonna probably talk over that. All right, so now we're in Adobe After Effects. I'm importing basically what I just did out of Unreal Engine. So now I'm bringing that bad boy in. So just understand that this is a pre-recorded thing that I did. So I'm going to try to keep up with what I was saying. So now that you have that imported, we can close these things out. We're also going to import a clean plate. So when you shoot this shot, you want to make sure that you're getting a clean plate. And that's when I use the whole fishing line to open up the door. And I know I showed y'all a little bit of that. This is that plate. You can see, bam. So we got that, me pulling it open. That's what I'm going for. That's the clean plate. Now we're going to drop in our character on top of that. This is what we exported out of Unreal Engine. As you see right now, it's not really upscaled to size, but we're going to continue marching forward and making these things happen. So big thing what I'm doing is I just want to make sure that I'm positioning my character basically right outside as if he is going ready to come in. And then I'm going to scale him up a little bit. I want to make sure that I have him positioned in as if he's getting ready to walk through the door. And then we can do our adjustments there afterwards. All right. I'm duplicating that because I noticed that I had a little bit, the clean plate that I actually shot, it was less than the time frame that I actually wanted to have this go. So I basically just did a duplicate split, basically split it, add it up in there, and then I can be able to drag it on because it's just the background. Then I'm gonna pre-compose. You don't have to do this. I just did this for this video. Like I said, this is just so I can have all of that in one. Then we want to add some film emulation. You don't have to do this. This is just a part of the color grading process when it comes to trying to make sure that our background looks the same as what we just did. So I duplicate the pre-comp shot and I bring that on top of the character because that's going to be the door. All right, next what I'm doing is I'm basically about to get ready to, because the door starts off closed. So I want to make sure that I mask out the door where I have the character in front. So how I did that is I just kind of throw the opacity up there, and then I'm going to mask out the door in a section where I want him to start coming in. And then we can basically go from there of really just dialing things in. So I see him coming in, I'm looking, all right, cool. So then I can go back from there and then I can actually see where I don't want the mask to be. And then I'm gonna start getting ready to start blending. And you can see here, I'm basically just masking up the door. And all this is going to do is just going to make sure that when he walks in that door, the door looks like it's actually the foreground. And then once it swings open, he will become basically in there. And now you can see I'm just messing with the opacity because I can be able to see it. And then you're going to track that going forward. You can see how I'm going to do a little bit of that, but we can fast forward in this. I'm basically going to, as the door swings open, remember, this is from the fish line that I'm pulling. As the door swings open, I'm going to continue just to move that mask over to be able to get that door. All right, so we went through that. We got the mask, the door mask. Like I said, this is something I'm doing just for the tutorial. So I'm really just trying to kind of skim through it. You can really dial things in if you want to, but that right there looks like he's actually coming in the door now. And I think that's all I did for this section. Then let's go to the next portion. This is where I started to, I believe this is when I started building up the shadow. So I take that, I take the actual layer of him, I duplicate it, I call that shadow. I call that shadow. I go to effects. I go down to generate and fill. So I'm gonna grab that shadow, I'm gonna put that on top just so y'all can see it right now. And then it's gonna come in red. You wanna basically go through that and change that to black. Soon you get that black, you hit okay. And then you wanna go through the opacity and then you can type T. Opacity, drop that down to 25%. So now you're gonna basically click this. This is the 3D layer. You wanna turn that to a 3D layer. Now you'll have that shadow there. You can be able to drag that underneath your character or whatnot. And then from there, you're going to kind of position it. Like I want mine to be touching the wall. There's different multiple ways that you can do this. You can find out wherever you want your shadow to be. So this is all your orientation. I'm going to kind of fast forward some of this. So X rotation, you would do -90. That would get you your shadow on the floor. You could see how it looks a little bit. Then you can basically go through and position where you want your shadow to be, you can say. All right, so then you're gonna go to effects. You're gonna add a blur to that shadow. I add Gaussian blur, and then you can be able to crank that up to where you feel it needs to be. You can see what I'm doing with mine. Like I said, this is all, you know, user preference, depending on how much light is going in there, whatever you feel that you need. For that shadow. So here now I got a shadow casted on the door. It looks like the light in the room is targeting and hitting the character, and we are getting a shadow. Now, one thing that you probably want to look into doing is for the most part, is being able to mask out your shadow. So you want to make sure that your shadow is not, when you're not supposed to be there, that it's not supposed to be there. So I go over a little bit of that, but like I said, I'm trying to speed up some of this time. We're trying to move it a little bit. You can see I'm still doing some positioning here, just to really dial things in. And here you can see what I'm doing is I'm basically masking that shadow now. So the shadow should only be able to hit everything there. It's not going to be going out into the back. You can see how this stuff is there. All right, now, so ultimately you're going to be able to get a lot of things done and completed. You can see how I have this here. I have the shadows all dialed in. One thing I did as well is if you really want to deal with like reflections and things like that, if you look up onto my pick a side poster that I have right here, I actually added, you can see his reflection there that I did there as well. And if you can see, I'm not going to basically break all that down. It's just me duplicating the character, moving him over towards the poster where the reflection's supposed to be, and add the opacity down to, I forgot what it was, 11 or 25 or whatever you feel it needs to be. And then what I do is I track it. And well, I don't really track it. I just kind of do a track as far as the position goes from there to there. It's just his head going right past it. And then from there, I would pre-compose that and then mask that out. And that's why we see the kind of what I already did as far as this. I basically added a mask around here. And then what that does is it just makes it look like him coming in and walking through. So, I kind of figured that this was all over the place a little bit, and hopefully it comes out a little bit better. Like I said, I'm busy. This was an old kind of effect. I know a lot of you was requesting to get a tutorial on how to make this come to life and how to do it. So hopefully this helps. I didn't want to go into really fully every detail and breakdown. I gave y'all a lot. I think this is probably going to be like a 20-minute tutorial, but at the same time, it can be something that if you use some of these tools, you can be able to get out there and make your things come to life and add them into a real life live action environment. So hopefully this helps. And other than that, get out there, keep creating, and I'll talk to you later.